Hi everyone, I'm Lalitha Pooja. I'm a therapist at Pause for Perspective. Uh, I see a diverse population as my clients. I see children, I see adults, I see couples, I see teenagers. Uh, Apart from the work of therapy, I also am the lead of the internship, co-lead of the fellowship and the MHA program, the Mental Health Awareness Project that we do at Pause. Also a part of this beautiful social media team that puts out all this amazing stuff. Uh, and to have this conversation today, we have Rafath here who joined us. Hi, Rafath.
Hello.
Could you
Uh,
introduce yourself?
yes. So, hello everybody. Hello LP. I like to call you LP. Lalitha Pooja.
Yeah,
So,
fine.
hello all. My name is Rafath, and I am also a therapist. I extend my services at Pause for Perspective. I primarily do individual therapy and group counseling. That is, I lead group sessions. I also do mental health awareness programs, and as LP was saying, I'm also the part of the social media team as a content creator. I think that's all about what I do. Thank you for having me here today.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you, Rafath, for being a part of this conversation. And I think because of the diverse populations that we both have seen as well, what made us to talk about the specific topic today is to just understand parenting. So we've come up with the topic of deconstructing parenting for today. Uh, and to understand more, we would want to start off with what are the struggles that you've noticed, uh,
Yeah.
in your clients who are parents or who are parents to the children or teenagers that we've seen as therapists.
Yes. So as you said, LP, that we have seen a diverse range of population, and parents being one of them. And I think we see parents only when we start working with children. That's how we kind of interact with parents as parents. And I would want to make it clear to the audience that both of us are not parents, but we are talking about this topic from a lens of a therapist and from the experience that we have as we worked with parents of teens, of children, and also me particularly having an experience of working in a group setup where parents were also part of these conversations. So when LP, you asked me about the struggles of parents, I am primarily going to talk about the experiences that I have had as I worked with these parents. And obviously, I'm not trying to generalize here. We are not trying to say that this is what happens generally, but this is
Yeah.
what we have noticed in our work. And another thing that I would want to put out is that our stance at PFP is such that we do not locate the problem in the person. We try to look at the multiple layers that might be influencing in the way an individual functions. So again, the struggles, or the things that I'm going to talk about are going to be from that systemic lens and not from a very individual lens. So talking about parents, it's such a broad kind of a topic. And
Yes.
I mean, parents of what, like young children, teenagers, adult children. So it's a diverse topic.
Absolutely.
And I think with this
Absolutely.
diversity comes a diversity of struggles as well. Like, for example, struggles of a young parent, or by young parent, I mean parents who are just became parents, parents of newly born children, are very different from those of a teenager and uh, parents of a teenager. And and it changes with age, it changes with the place we live in, the context we live in. Some of the most common kind of struggles that we have seen is, I personally have seen, is this constant comparison that goes on in parents about, oh, my child has grown this much, and this other person's child has grown this much, so am I doing enough? And this constant question of being the good parent, being the right
Yeah.
doing the right thing. um, there's a need to always do what is best, and I think it's kind of pressuring when you have that sort of a need. um,
Absolutely.
and the protection that a parent wants to give a child might come out as control. And whenever there is control, there is a kind of rebellion against that. So these kind of struggles are some of which we have noticed. Also, the fear of being labeled as a bad parent by the world. And somehow, these good and bad parents, these labels are are directed by the academic or professional success of the child. Like, if my child is doing academically well, then I'm a good parent. Or if my
Yeah.
child is doing well in the world, I am a good parent. These kind of struggles. And also with technology, with advancement in technology, the parents are not able to catch up to the changes that are happening. And the generation gap, maybe, like how children see the world and how the parent is seeing the world, is so different. And that barrier might be a struggle for them. um there's also, like, each time there's a transition, like when a child moves into a teenage life, and the transition requires the parent to change the way they respond. And that's difficult for parents, because they look at a child as, my baby, I want to like protect you. But when they're teenagers, they don't want to be protected, they want their autonomy. And becomes a big struggle for the parent to accept that this, my baby has become a big boy now, or a big girl.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I've also noticed this one thing about, if the child is going through something, they automatically, the parents take the blame on themselves, like, oh, where am I lacking that the child is going through this? And there's a very strong guilt or a feeling of being not enough or not being good enough a parent when the child is struggling with whatever the child is struggling with, and they take the blame or the responsibility on themselves. So these were some of the struggles that came to my mind. But you have had an experience of working with children and
Yeah.
parents as well. Am I missing on something, or is something coming
No,
up?
I think I completely agree with that point that you said, that even for parents, it's a transition that keeps happening. I think when they're new mothers, firstly, their body goes through so many transformations.
Oh,
If you're looking at
yes.
mothers,
Yeah.
right? I mean, first, for them to understand how their body is functioning, and then to understand, oh my God, there's a new person whose
Yeah.
responsibility is
Yeah.
completely on us, for both the
Yeah.
parents, that anything that goes wrong, they are to be the one who are, catch hold of it.
Yeah.
So that labeling of good parenting in comparison, I think, constantly is present throughout. And even if they think of, I don't want to be a part of that, that still comes in.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that is this whole transformation that happens, like how you said, for kids, from kids to teenagers, everything changes. I mean, the whole context around parents change. And this is so visible, especially when you have parents who have more than a child. They have two kids or three
Yeah.
kids. Everything is new for them. It's not
Yeah.
like, okay, we've done this for the first child, we could do that also for the second child. Doesn't work that way. It's again a whole new set of procedure that they have to learn and go through.
Yeah.
So it feels like every time they have to keep revamping themselves, like how you get new versions of whatever technology happened. This is Android what and what. So I think for parenting also, there's so
Yeah.
many updates or versions that keep coming up of how do you be there for your children. And that's a constant struggle, because
Mm,
often what happens is, when you're seeing as a parent, you just locate the parent as a parent. You don't locate the
yes.
parent as a person who's doing a job, who's having other chores, who has other identities. It's often restricted to a parent,
Yeah.
and you
Yeah.
are judged, you are marked, or whatever you want to say,
Yeah.
based on that
Yeah.
scoring, right? Like,
Yeah.
your sense of identity is located of how well my child is performing or my child is
Exactly.
doing,
Yes.
but nothing to do with all the other identities that you hold as an adult.
Yeah.
And it's very hard.
Yeah. I really liked what you said about how there's this individual, and we are only looking at this individual through the role of a parent, and not as,
Absolutely.
a person who's struggling with so many things in their own lives. Yes, they have
Absolutely.
parents, but there are all the other things as well. They are like a sister,
Yeah.
a mother,
Yeah.
a wife, a professional in whatever field they are. And there's so many other roles that they're playing simultaneously with being a parent. Yeah.
Yeah. Totally. And and, and I think taking this conversation a bit further into that whole good parenting, good parent, all that labels that usually parents get attached to, or the society attaches to them, right? What do you think is at a bigger I mean, a bigger picture of it. What is there playing behind
Yeah.
this? That's making parents, constantly be in this space.
Yeah. When we look at this as a system or as a whole, we can see, like as you were talking, we can see that parents are located within a system, and parents as individuals are located within a system. And um, I think a lot of what we do, how we are, is governed by where we live, how we live, the time we are living in, and all of these things that are around us. We cannot say that you as an individual are like this. An individual is kind of responding to the environment. And when we say the environment, I think there are messages or ideas that we are constantly getting from the world around us about being a particular way, about doing the right thing. Moms means you have to be like this. You have to be gentle. You have to be nurturing. You have to be like always present. And dads means you have to be that protective shield. You have to earn. You need
Right.
to be that reliable person. All of these labels. And parents, as you said, means they have to always be there. They have to be all knowing. We just look at them as parents. We don't look at them as individuals. And also how there are these ideas of um, success, ideas of, when you ask me what is the bigger picture, these big words came to my mind of patriarchy, maybe capitalism, and these ideas. But when we say patriarchy, people will be like, how patriarchy? But this whole idea of moms need to be this way and dads need to be this way is patriarchal, right? And
Absolutely.
how success, how academic achievement of the child is detrimental in kind of it determines the worth of the parent. Like, oh, my
Yes.
child got an A grade in this subject means I have become a good parent. And a lot of times I have seen parents personally who come and talk about that this kid not doing well academically, and that being the concern. It's not like he's failing, but it's just that he's not getting those A pluses and those outstanding grades. And that became a mark of failure for the parent, that this child is not doing academically well. And again, a very capitalistic idea, right? That success
Totally.
determines worth. And somehow, we can measure success by these grades, but how are we measuring happiness, LP? I mean, nobody cares about how happy my child is, and that means that I have been a successful parent. uh,
Yes. Yes.
Somehow success became equivalent to grades. It became equivalent to doing well professionally. And
Totally.
yeah, these ideas, and also the idea that elders, especially in the Indian context, that as elders we know what's best for you. This whole idea that you are too young to decide, you don't know what's good for you, we know what's good for you. um,
Yeah.
these ideas, I think, have been internalized to such an extent that all our worth, all our uh, what a parent is became dependent on these things. um,
Totally.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, completely agree with what you were saying. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Okay. Uh, I really wanted to go into that bit that you spoke about how parents are okay or not okay with the grades because of the systems that are present around them. I mean, I've spoken to parents who are okay, who are not okay with a few behaviors or a few grades or a few selection of choice the child makes in the career or with a partner
Yeah.
is actually okay for the parents. Like when you explore it with them, they're okay with it. But because the system around them
Mm,
constantly tells them this is not okay,
yeah.
they're somehow forced to be giving into the system,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
they feel like, I remember a very specific client who was told that the behavior of the child was not okay.
Mm,
But the child has no problem, the parent has no problem with it. But because the people around are pointing it out, that became a problem.
yeah. Yeah.
And imagine what the parent and the child has to go through because of the system around.
Yeah. This kind of reminds me of that analogy, that Sharma ji ke bete ne engineering ki hai, to tum bhi engineering karna. When I don't want my child to do engineering, or my child does not want
Yes,
engineering, but
yes,
because of this
yes.
distant relative has done it so successfully, we are like asked to do it. Yeah.
Totally. I mean, just a personal thing. I remember when I chose commerce or when I chose arts, I was asked. My parents were asked, in fact, saying that what happened is her grades not that good. Is that why she's not doing engineering?
Yeah.
And my
Yeah.
parents were like, "Oh my god," and I was like, "Please calm down." So, to that level, that our parents are okay with it, but because the systems around are not okay. And imagine if this is a joint family context, then
Oh,
there are
yes.
parents who are present,
Aunts and
who will tell
uncles.
these
Yeah.
parents,
Cousins.
everybody, yes,
Every.
all of them
Yeah.
telling these set of parents that this is the standard that you're supposed to maintain,
Yes. Yes.
because that's again the society saying.
Yeah.
And the larger picture, like you said, is definitely patriarchy and capitalism that play. Patriarchy is so much so that they both are so intertwined. I feel like you need to get good education to earn really well is what
Mm.
capitalism tells you. So to earn a good education, the parents are supposed to do what? Provide that. So according to patriarchy, it's the father that's supposed to
Yeah.
provide. So
Yeah.
no matter what dream the father has, they're
He
supposed to
needs to.
slog
Yeah.
and get that kind of an amount, or get that kind of a
Yeah.
financial stability for the child, for the family.
Yeah.
And to support that, if the mother extends the support also, right? Or if the mother is also a person who's working and has taken a break from for the child and is going back, you have the society pulling them back, saying that how can you do it? You're a mother.
Yes.
Aren't you
Yes.
supposed to be taking care of your
Yeah.
child?
Yeah.
Is it needed that you
Mm.
go and work? And
Yeah.
again, over here also, your husband is already earning. Should you also need to earn for
Yeah.
the women?
Yeah.
Again, how there are
It's so,
layers.
yeah, exactly. It's so layered, right? And all we see is, oh, she's being such a bad mom by working. But
Yes.
it's a cycle. It's so
Yeah.
systemic.
And they both would be questioned if the child is not able to, get the right kind of education or
Yeah.
not get settled. Then the whole
Yeah.
thing goes back to the parents saying you were not responsible for this.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's like
And
these
imagine
set.
the mental health impact of all of this on the
Absolutely.
parents, on the child, on like the family as a unit. Yeah.
So much of stress, so much of pressure, so much of anxiety around what am I going to do. I've seen few parents already planning, even before they actually think of having a child, plan their financial
Yeah.
stability of how it's going to
Yeah.
look like. Think so much about their work, think so much about everything else before they go. And that all of this is stress. I mean, you're already a partner, you're already working somewhere, and you're going to be a parent also. There are so many
Mm.
roles that you're holding, and
Yeah.
every role has its own level of mental health that's going to add
Yes.
to your bucket.
Yes. And how easily we say that, oh, it's in your mind, stop thinking. I mean,
Oh,
there's so much that
yes,
goes on. Yeah.
yes,
And, as you were talking, and as I was thinking about this one thing, about accountability. Like
yeah,
we do say that, yes, this is the system that's doing this to us, but
yes,
we cannot. Sure, our choices are governed by the world we live in, the systems we live in, but these are still our choices, and somewhere
yes,
deep down we are accountable for the choices we make, and that
absolutely.
uh, that whatever we choose, we choose. So I mean, it's such a tricky thing, right? Like these systems do govern it, but we are also responsible for it. So in no way am I saying that the problem is located within the parents. It is definitely located in the world we live in. But we also need to hold ourselves accountable as individuals for making these choices that we are making, because we made those choices, right? So yeah,
Yeah, I think that's a very, very important point that you said, that the choices are constantly being made, right?
yeah,
Constantly being made as parents for self, as parents of the children as well. That you make choices for them, you make choices for your own self, but these choices are choices in the end of the day that are present.
yeah,
So it's
yeah.
very important that we notice that. And
LP, in one of the conversations I was having with my supervisor, it was about parenting and my struggles as a facilitator of a group, talking about parents and stuff. So what, one question really stuck with me. Like she said that after talking about all of this, what does this make me see about who I want to be as a parent? Like when we opened up all of these struggles and the underlying layers of these struggles, what do I see about what I want to be? Because in the
yeah.
end, these are choices that we make. So I think I would want to leave my audience with this question of
Oh,
what are you seeing after this discussion about, and what does this say about what you want to be as a parent, as an individual?
absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that takes me to a last thing also. What do parents really want for their children? What is it that really, I mean, all this effort that they put in, the whole mental trauma that they go through to raise a child. And it's not just like it's a year or two, right? I mean,
Yeah.
there are years together. It's once you have a child, it's
It's
forever
for
that
the
you take up.
lifetime.
It's for a
Yes.
lifetime that you're
Yes.
involved with the child.
Yeah.
So, with that, that being there, what is the intention as parents that they hold on
I
for
think
their
it's very simple. It's very basic. I think it's just pure love, and I think it's just care and concern. Like underneath all these layers, all these struggles, lies very pure form of love or concern for the
child?
child, a feeling or
Yes.
a need to protect, maybe a need to just a wish that these their children flourish, they do well.
Yeah.
And I think it's as basic as that, that it all boils down to just wanting the best for my child and the immense amount of love that I have for them.
Yeah.
Because I don't think I've seen any parent who says that, oh, I don't love my child, that's why I brought them to therapy. No, I think deep down all of them kind of, I think the way they show it might not be in line with what they want to show, but then I think it comes from that place of love.
Yeah, totally. It takes me back to the point that you said about the whole generation gap of how what was best for the child back then was different, what was best for the child back right now is different. And somewhere, I think it's passed on in our culture to see that we are adults, we make the decisions. And somewhere that
Mm,
kept passing along, which made
yeah,
it difficult. Like the parents want the best, they want to give the child the best, but what the best the child wants is different or sometimes
yeah,
aligned as well. But
yeah,
to notice what the child wants and what
exactly.
I want, are they aligned, is something that
Yeah.
that would really hold that love and care and all of that you really hope for your child.
I think you put it beautifully that, coming to just realizing that underneath all of the struggle, all I want is love, care, and well being for my child. And
Absolutely.
if the way I do it is probably not showing it, and as you said, what the child wants and what I want, and coming to somewhere of a middle ground, and just
Yeah.
understanding from that place, like, okay, both of us want like your well-being, how do we then work towards it? If this is not working, what is working? And I think conversations is something that can help. Being open and curious is something that can help, because I
Yes.
think it's so difficult for parents to say that they love their children. They'll always show love in different ways, like at least my parents have done that always. So yeah,
Yes. Yes, that's very true what you said, that love, care comes out in different ways. It depends completely on the stories they've grown up with
yeah,
and how
yeah.
they've seen love and care. So, you know, uh, we're coming to an end in this conversation here today about parenthood. And I think this is the conversation we want to take forward, to look at the other side of how is it for children, and hoping that Rafat would also be in that conversation
Yes,
for our next
definitely.
episode. I really want to thank everyone for watching the video till the end, and do let us know your thoughts. How did you feel about this, and are there other areas that you want us to explore as well? And thank you so much for being so kind with us. And we would come up with the next episode very soon. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you, Rafat,
Goodbye.
for coming
Thank you
in.
so much. It was lovely to have this conversation with you.
Thank you.
Hope to see you soon.
Yeah, me too.
Bye.
Bye.